Should you buy Warzone 2? Well, no, it's a free game. You're getting scammed. But realistically, is this a game you should be investing in and getting ready for? I'm also working on some of my clickbaiting skills. After playing the alpha, of course, at the Call of Duty Next event that happened last week, many of you guys have been asking what are my thoughts on it. We've been talking about it on stream, but I wanted to put it together in another commentary since you guys loved the last one so much. Keep in mind, I am much more of a hardcore player. If you're new to this channel in general, I might be part of the reason why you quit the game in the first place. You may consider me a sweat, even though I'm not necessarily dropping 30 kill games. I rely a little bit more on strategy, although I'll be popping off as I may be switching over to controller. Now, you guys have probably seen a lot of the core details of this game through especially Modern Warfare 2, which is being played like crazy. They've made it so drop shotting or prone in general isn't blocked, which is a great win, but they've also added things like Last Stand Back, which if you remember back in Modern Warfare 2 to 3 was one of the main selling points to play Modern Warfare 3. But I want to focus specifically on Warzone 2 here, not the multiplayer. And with that, there was a massive amount of bugs that we saw. Dropping cash in $50 increments. You couldn't drop all. You couldn't jump on ledges like you used to be able to in Warzone to look off a building. Even when I was just trying to drop my Volt key on the ground, it ended up duplicating it, and I couldn't get it out of my inventory. And when I needed sniper ammo, I had to pick up new snipers because I couldn't get any ammo from the ground nor from teammates. On top of trying to make VoIP even work for my teammates for half of the time. These are some of the more micro aspects that we will get into, but this is all assumed going to be fixed because it's an alpha. I want to look at some of the similarities and differences in the overall gameplay and some of my thoughts on it. So then that sets us up so you understand. I want to talk about some of the higher level gameplay decisions, similarities, differences between the two different games with my thoughts on it. And this will absolutely help you think through some of your take on the game and do you want to invest in it and where are we at right now? I have to get us all on the same page to start. And with that, people always assume every new Call of Duty is going to be a completely new experience. And to be fair, they often market it like it. But this is still your classic Call of Duty. Hit markers, fast time to kill, aim assist, makes it easy for everybody to hop on and enjoy and just play some games. They've also decided to keep contracts, which is one of the best things that they had implemented in Warzone 1, making the mid-game so much more impactful and just giving you things to do, whether it's recon missions trying to find the zone or bounties to go and literally hunt somebody down. They've also kept the cash system, which gives you a whole bunch of flexibility, enabling you to buy whatever you want from any of the stations, buying your teammates back, which thankfully they are still keeping. Many reasons why I still don't go back and play PUBG and other things with friends. And of course, the last player alive wins it. Solos will be insane. And they're starting with trios just like they did with Warzone 1 before they added quads, duos, and even solos, let alone resurgence and all the other stuff they added. Especially since we're not getting a new Call of Duty next year, we are going to see a lot of stuff added to this game, I can only imagine. But how do you get the win? What's the rush that's going to lead you to the moment I want to come back to the game? The first thing we saw that caught me off guard was the 3-zone split, where this thing in the mid-game splits into 3 different smaller zones, bringing people together, but also separating them. And we couldn't really get a good feel for this in the actual gameplay because nobody had enough experience. A lot of people like myself were even just going through the settings for half of the match. Even playing with some of the other top players there, I think this is really going to hinder those top players more so than your average player, where you want to rotate from one zone to the other. You're going to have to travel through the gas. Will you even be able to without redeploy balloons, choppers, whatever else they might add to it? Theoretically, this should slow the pacing of the game down and get you into more of the intense situation. In practice, I still feel like most people are going to be dead at the beginning of the game, and this is not going to dramatically affect the mid-game, especially with how sparse the cache is. Although we don't know the specific locations, which is how this map is more designed from what the developer said. You need to go to specific strongholds, specific spots to get certain types of loot. For example, you go to cash registers, you can get a ton of cash. I even saw that myself on this. This also leads to the removing of the boxes or loadout boxes. In fact, you can't get perks at all in the current state as we know it of the game. You can still buy your gun by going to a buy station, and it was extremely expensive, for like $10,000 for one gun. If you've got your customized, then you'll get it. But I think this is going to lead to even more problems in terms of people not wanting to give you their cash because they want to buy their specific gun. This isn't just 10K, and the whole team gets 2 guns. They get overkill, perks, everything. This is 10K for one gun for one person on what is even harder to get cash from the initial play. The way I explained a lot of this is it seems like they're going for more of a tactical feel for it. In combination, of course, with removing slide canceling where people are sliding all over the place. Like, this is a win for me. There's some stuff, obviously, I always love to get, like Amped is my #1 perk. I always love to have it, but constantly running into Serpentine, Combat Scout, I think it does lead to a lot of frustration, and really, those top players just stacking everything up, it's like that is where Warzone 1 had went from being a much more casual friendly game to only the sweats are still playing it, and that's who they're catering for, increasing the time to kill, making this game overall harder. And that was one of the things that I talked about in my last commentary of why I think this game is going back to more of a luck-based RNG system, even what we saw with the 2v2 Gulag being added, right? Because this is what's a much more kind of gambling type experience where it's like, oh, you get this lucky thing that happens. It's this crazy time and you can get a win with your friends even if you're not necessarily the best player, right? And I think this could bring a lot more casuals back. This is also typically the trend of all of the Call of Duties where they start like that and it slowly adjusts over time. In that same vein, then, they want the game more accessible. They've also changed the way that the unlock system works, which is a bit confusing because it's based off the receiver and that's the attachments that go off of it. But in simplicity, you unlock weapons for a specific gun and it'll unlock for other weapons as well, theoretically making the unlock system a whole lot easier. And if you already have a receiver compatible with, say, a new gun that comes out, you'll probably already have a whole lot of attachments unlocked for it right off the rip. This is something I obviously see every single day with how difficult it is to get into the game, get the gun unlocked for the meta. There's still going to be an element of that, but this should make it a little bit more accessible, and we'll see, especially with not having loadouts in the game, this might even make it more accessible. The hard thing with the game, too, is without that flow of new players coming in, now all the people in all your lobbies are experienced. If you're not up to par with jump shotting, drop shotting, slide canceling, you're not even competitive. Of course, you're going to get killed in every game, even from somebody who's a low KD. If they just even implement a little bit of that gameplay, they'll start beating everybody who doesn't do any of it. So back to my point about the Gulag, they've made this a 2v2 system. There's also AI in the Gulag, and if you kill one of those, they drop a key, and if you make it to the other team's exit, basically, you can just extract even without having to kill anybody. Or your teammate who you're with could theoretically kill both of them. You get the key and just escape out just like that. Think about how many more variables that adds versus a clean 1v1. Both you start with the same gun. Now you got to pick up weapons off the ground. But personally, the old 1v1 Gulag, one of the things that made that so special was it was a more skill test, right? It was something that you could still obviously lose. I lost it all the time, but you were in a 1 versus 1, which is something that, you know, is always something COD players at 1v1 me on Rust. It's just a classic thing, even in Halo, in all FPS games. 1v1 me, bro. Whatever game. And when you're coming back from the Gulag, or especially when you're coming off the initial drop of the plane, they made it so that there's no more shooting out of the plane. Now, you can still jump off of a building with a sniper, hit a shot, pull your parachute, land. But if you're coming off that initial drop, you don't need to worry about coming into a fight with no plates or just getting shot out of the sky, which I am so incredibly grateful for, because I did that a little bit at the beginning of the game, but it just got annoying. I just want to drop in and play the game. This should also theoretically just keep people more alive as they land in and give them the option to go out, spread out across the map if you want to. Yes, the first circle is still there upon landing, but it seemed like there was even more vehicles, which have also been changed to where you can now pop tires, shoot doors off, lean out of the vehicle, get on top of the roof by climbing out of the vehicle just like that. With the change on swimming, where you can now actually go in water, takes you so much deeper into the game in terms of immersion, where you're not just vaulting over something, going in a puddle of water on Verdansk at the edge of the port, and falling off the damn map and instantly dying, losing all your loot out there. You can't even go pick it up when you get respawned afterwards. Not that that's happened to me ever. There's a lot of big wins that are making me way more excited for this game than Warzone 1. But there was definitely frustrations, even outside of the bugs, with the actual gameplay itself, especially when it came to the loot management. This is more similar to how it was back in Blackout, where you have 6 slots with a backpack, and you can carry anything in these. I'm talking, I had multiple gas masks. I had 9 plates at one point. I had 3 airstrikes in my bag at one time. And I know a lot of people are dumpstering on this looting system so far, but that actually leaves me extremely excited. That gives you more options. You guys know I always talk about options with gameplay. Dude, like, this gives you so much more flexibility in what you can do. The problem with it is the actual mechanic for doing it. Even on PC, when I finished looting something, it would auto close something, and then I would hit escape, and then it would bring up another menu, and I'd be like, ah, shit, and I'd try and close out of that, and I'm panicking in a fight. It just does not feel intuitive how it is right now, which obviously that can be improved. Look at how Apex Legends, when that first came out, the looting system on it was infuriating, okay? But they have made a ton of improvements to make it extremely quick. You can see where your upgrades are, and even with the upgrades they've done, I still don't like looting. It is something I hate. To be fair on this game, it's only a couple slots, so it's not that much to manage, more similar to Fortnite, but it still requires a window, so you can't just instantly swap it out like the convenience of Fortnite. On top of that, it was super hard to see the actual loot, to where you had to go to actual shelves, go to the cash registers, even picking up contracts for little radios on the floor that you had to specifically look at. It was not nearly as flexible, especially looting boxes where you just hit the box, the loot's on the ground, you hit the box, a menu pops up, you've got to go through the menu, you're locked in position while you're using the menu. It can be infuriating, but does slow people down to where they're not going to be able to fly around the map at the pace they were in Warzone 1. This can leave opportunities to get headshots on somebody who's even the best player in the world trying to get their gun out of a box. See? Those luck scenarios of, oh, shoot, I just killed him, I got it! One of the things I'm most concerned about, though, is the satchels. You pick these up, and it actually increases your overall health. And there was no visual cue like there was back in Blackout, where you've got that tier 3 helmet to make you immune to the one-shot headshot snipe. This gives you the option to throw an extra plate in. This is going to make the time to kill on players way more variable. Even with Tempered in Warzone 1, it doesn't increase your overall health. The only thing to do that is Serpentine, and well, a lot of people are pissed about Serpentine. And that gives you the indicator that they've got it. On top of that, when you are plating and running away, the maximum speed that you can even go is walking speed. You cannot just go full sprint based on your SMG's crazy crackdown movement speed. You could run flying through buildings, jump over windows, and going for replates, and then re-peek a corner and pop off, get another triple kill after you've got the reset when you're getting chased down off a disadvantage. No, if you're in the disadvantage now, you either challenge with less health, or you die while you're plating, because they are going to catch you if they decide to push. This is going to be a massive shift in the overall meta of the game if they do keep this. On top of that, there's AI. So you might run around a corner into a random AI that's in a building that just decides to shoot you. Or if you're held out of zone because you've got to shoot this AI, or the AI is going to give your position away, but then you shoot them and then you get third-partied immediately because you wasted all your ammo. You have to go for a reload. You need to get a replate, and you're stuck in a bad position. It's going to be even stronger to go for the dives. Additionally, I don't know if you saw my game where I died to the Juggernaut, which I don't even know where he came from, but that might be a thing that we have to deal with, which is like the Christmas event all over again, where you've got a guy that's way too high of health at the end game that's just annoying you, throwing snowballs at you. Did we not learn this lesson? That's not even tactics. How do you play around that? You can't. It's just game over, going back to the RNG. Once you are out, spectating is also completely different, and I do think it looks really cool, especially at first. But in actual practice, of you wanting to see, like, hey, is this guy even hacking? A third-person type camera off the helmet is just, it doesn't work. We need to be able to toggle between that. Heck, they even created a third-person mode for this game that they are going to be trying in Battle Royale. What if we had the option to switch between all these cameras, especially after all of our teammates are dead? Even just to spectate other teams. It's a giant form of content that many of us learn from, whether it's watching videos or just the people that killed us, to see what the heck they're using and how they're doing it. Please add a normal spectate so we can see, especially for Warzone, how these go. And finally, my absolute favorite part of everything that I saw on this, which I'm excited to say, is the map. Obviously, new maps, you always go through a honeymoon phase with pretty much everything. But that's one of the benefits of having new maps. Me playing Caldera, all the updates that have happened on Caldera, I have been overjoyed. From all of the other Battle Royales that I've gone out and played, like, that's one of the reasons I go play them, is for new content, is for new experiences. Yes, I would love it if they had some of the older experiences, like Verdansk, even added on this. Of course, they're adding it to mobile. But even what they did with this map feels a lot more like Verdansk, with a lot of the throwback locations. Yes, they had some on Caldera. They even added more with, like, Storage Town. They have this massive advantage with all of these incredible assets. Utilize it. With everything I've explained, now you see what I'm talking about when I say they've slowed this game down. This is definitely a little worrying, because that's kind of what they did, switching the game with Caldera's release in Warzone 2, which turned away so many people. Waiting 7 minutes for loadout. Now they don't even have a loadout. Adding vehicles like the motorcycle. They deleted that thing. Well, now we got a whole new system for vehicles. swimming even. You gotta go take a dip. I'd say from what we know so far, there's not enough information to be like, yes, 100% on either way. And I see so many people are already completely writing off the game or already completely on board with it. I will say this is much more in the direction that I would prefer the game to go, but not for everything. And we have to see where those points are going to actually factor in when we play the game, when we get rid of all the bugs, because it's hard to even see past all of those in the experience that I had playing it in the first place. Well, let me know what you think. Is there anything that stands out in particular? And obviously, I couldn't touch on everything. I tried to make this video as short as I could, but we got to talk more about anti-cheat, custom games. Apparently, they're going to have coded-based servers, which would be a massive win if it is true. Sniping, we got to get into. But that's it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed, a dislike if I should stop doing these, go back to other things. Leave it on my stream where I'm live every weekday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Stop by. We got way more of this, but that's it for this one. This is StoneMountain64. Over and out.